which has come out. Okay, so Nilima and Shanmuga was working on the exercises for our previous topic for lesson 4 with our last exercise, which is challenge, where they wanted to see how this conditionally select when groups work instead of using if then else. So, do we have any ready code? Do you people have any ready code for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you just put on the chat box?
Okay.
Connected to all my data files.
Oh, no, this was working. So this one we have to modify using select when.
Got it. All right. So this is a table where you're creating two data files, or this is a data step where you're creating two data sets called as parks and monuments by reading from input data
NP summary. Yeah.
pg1.np summary. So, okay, for new variable you have given the length and all. So here you are writing if the column NP. Now you are very quite familiar. Now this data, which is NP1 summary, is all about the national park summary data, which consists of the information of national parks. Correct. So it's NP summary. So let's first look into the columns. We have region, type. So this is the type values NM, NP, preserve, and so on. Name of the park. Then we have a column where you have day visits, other lodging in the park, other camping, tent campers, RV campers, backcountry campers, and acres of land for that park. Whereas the park name is the name which consists the values like Cape, Princeton National Monument, Kenai, F. Falls National Park. So these are some of the values. So what they are telling, depending on the values from your column, which is name, you have to create two data sets, park and monument. All right. So it's telling depending on the value for the column type, where it's NP, then your car type column should be parks, and your new column campers should be sum of all this campers. Okay, and output should go to parks. Very simple. Now the same thing we can do it with select one. So before going for data step to write select when, let's check out for your select when syntax. Okay. So this syntax, use your SAS online help document to read about using select when statements. Repeat practice 8 using select. Okay, so the previous one. So let's come to SAS support.sas.com. It's a document or documentation file from your SAS website. So let's go here with SAS programming 9.4. So within this, we'll read in detail about data step processing. So click data step processing. Data step statements. Have anything in that? Reduce statements. Accessing procedures. If we do not find anything, we'll just write it here. One. See anything here? Data step, definitions, dictionaries. Let's Google it out. I just wanted to show you the syntax in this form.
17,000 results are coming in search. Select when.
It's coming.
17,000 results happen.
Okay. Select when. Stop. Yeah, I just wanted to show you the syntax. Now, if you check the syntax, look at it carefully. I hope you can do this. So it's like select. Of course, you have data select. In parentheses, you give on which column you will be selecting the values. When for this column, if this is the value, then this is the statement for this upcoming. So there is no then here. It's like if your park name or park type is NP, then whatever. So moving ahead, we'll try here also. Create data, suppose it's park, okay, and set NP pg1 dot NP underscore summary. Select from your column, which column you are working with.
Type.
All right. Then the value for type is going to be
NP.
NP or pass. So NP, of course, it's case sensitive. Okay. See, as you have given this, right? So here we'll be writing when NP, you can tell SAS to create park type is equal to parks, and along with it you can write campus. But campus, I think, is a very common statement, so it's not on a condition. So let campus be a common statement later on. Of course, you need to have output. Sorry, output is going to be to parts data, right? Then when your again type value is going to be
NM. Ashwini, we don't need to put end into that.
I'll explain you on that also. We'll just put it with as per the syntax. When
Okay.
NP, you want to create a new column called as our type is going to be a new column where the value is going to be go to monument data set. And campers is a very common statement. It's not with the condition that it's going to be sum of all your values for your campers, type of campers. And of course, you can use your key to select the columns along with your array. All right. Okay. This was a syntax. At the syntax carefully.
And we didn't keep end, I think.
Yes. So what otherwise and what end is, that also I'll explain you. So once you have done with all this, when and all, you write otherwise. And, all right. So it should end with otherwise and end. Okay. Let me check. You said you were getting the things when we are looking into your data step for select one, the results. Here we have select one. All right. So see what it's telling. The select when statement or select statement executes one of several statements or groups of statements. So the following data step uses select statement to select only those rows from this particular data set. Now what they are doing is, as we write, if name equal to Christmas, then cat equal to 1. This is what with if then else we do. So when if you check the highlighted part, it's telling this is the syntax for select one. So it's like if name is equal to Christmas, category is equal to 1. Else if name is equal to memorial, category should be 2. Else if name is equal to MLK, category is 3. And if you remember, we write else other statement. So same thing, this otherwise works here. So it's telling select for this current condition. If all the conditions above are false, then this otherwise will work with your other condition. And because it's a group of statements for single condition, you are writing multiple statements, it's ending with end. Okay, so this is overall your select when syntax. Do you understand this concept now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like the same thing. Moving back to our example, now for our select when, we have for single condition multiple statements. Correct? Why multiple statements? So you are writing for your condition for your column type, when the value is NP, it's like then create a new variable park type with the value of parks and direct the output to output data set. So for a single condition, you have multiple statements. Hence, we can always write this with conditions and where you write to it's do. It's when same. All right. So when your value for type is do NP, do new column output to this end. So this is one group. Same thing. This will be your second group, which ends here. And you write otherwise with end. So this end is overall for your single select statement for your single category or a single condition. It ends here. For this condition, you have multiple statements, hence it's ending here. And for this when you have multiple statement, hence it's ending with to end here. And this is otherwise. So otherwise is a key keyword which has to be written within your program, because the syntax is been developed where you have to end it with otherwise. It's like, in case if I don't write this, okay, for example, I may tell SAS that when NP and all this, okay, it should work out with otherwise. Okay, otherwise, I write it this way. Otherwise, do for your park type, okay, this column. Now this end will go with this do, and this will be an overall end with your select. So it's like, if this condition is true for type is NP, then do this statements. Otherwise, do this. All right. So in case, normally for this example, which they have given on the screen with this, okay, let's work out from this data. So we have SAS Help.holiday data. So let's look into this library. So we know SAS Help is a ready to use permanent library provided to us from SAS. So here we have holiday data set. So if you check this holiday data, it's having name, it has some column, okay. Then it has category, it is begin, end, month, day, and rule. Okay, so this is the data file. So they are telling select in the name if the value is Christmas. Okay, and otherwise delete. That means if all this condition is false, then it should work with otherwise to delete the values. All right. So in case if I omit this otherwise statement, fine. So look at this, how it goes. You see it's giving us error. Looking into log, see what it's telling. Unsatisfied when clause and no otherwise clause in line 77 column 1. So this is 77 line where your when is not ending with otherwise. It's like, as I said you, otherwise is a keyword which ends your select statement. It's telling if all the other conditions above conditions are false, then otherwise it should work with this condition. So this condition means it's like within your name, if all these values are there, then it will create these columns. Otherwise, it should delete the other values. All right. So this is what otherwise is important. So coming to our program also, what we are doing, either if this condition is true, move ahead. If it's not, otherwise, just write that it is going to have car type to be create monument. Output should be this. Either you do this way or you make use of this otherwise. Simply, if you do not know how many car types or types of parks you have, you simply make use of this statement. All right, and this end is for your when, and you simply write otherwise. But currently, we are not writing any otherwise condition. So this otherwise has to be there even if you do not have condition, because it's a part of your syntax. It will not work if you do not give otherwise. So you're working only with two criterias, hence otherwise and end. So when you run this data step, of course, will include your length and format and all the stuffs. So let's make your length your format. Let's run and check. And format is going properly. Have one error. So what's that error? Output monuments data set was not specified. Let me check the spelling of monuments. Done. So we have two data sets, monuments, park. So currently the data which we see is park, which has 51 rows and 6 columns. So see all the park names which are having park word in it, it's been directed to a data parks. Whereas in monuments, if you check this, you have data where all the park names is having monument one word into it. And of course, new column campus. Now their campus is not getting calculated. Why? Does we have the same thing with parks? Yes. So why campus is not getting calculated? That is for your new column. Any idea? Yes. Why you're not
So
getting
what,
values for campus?
what was the question, Ashwini?
See, when I was looking into my data, I find campus values were not calculated.
Oh, campus.
Why so?
We didn't put the sum of other lodging campus and all, right?
I just copied the statement from your statement.
Oh, yeah,
So
the
what is
campus
it?
is there.
So what it's missing? So what did they say? So it's telling here park and all those. So it was create a new column campers that is the sum of all columns containing counts of campers. So moving into your program, in your entry summaries, what are the columns which has the values for campers? So it's telling you have columns like other camping, tent campers, RV campers, country, backcountry campers. So in your program, other camping, do we have that column? It's other camping, tent campers, RV campers, backcountry campers. So it's the same thing. Why it's not coming?
The same program, it is coming with normal else if then else.
But you are getting campers values there. I don't know. Like, did you see? Do we have values for campers? The new column, which is your
Yeah,
computing
it is
columns.
coming. It is coming.
There it's coming.
Yeah.
Here it's not coming.
I think should we take this campus after set?
No, no, no. That's not an issue. Let me put it along with the condition and check whether it's working now.
You are giving three times in this program, right? Once is enough, I think.
Yeah, once is enough, but that's what I wrote it here only. It was a single statement, but
Okay.
I'm putting it for every condition now.
Okay.
Let's check. Now it's coming. Yes, so it's for within every condition. All right. So for
Okay.
this NP, if it is true, then create parks campers output to parks when the value is monument for type, then do new columns output. So now I get the campus values. Earlier when I was writing as a single or as a general statement without for any specific condition, like here I had written it here earlier. So it was not creating the values. So maybe it's within your conditions. So this is similar like your if then else, which you have written the same thing. See, if NP, then do this. If NP, then do this. So instead of every time writing if np this value, in select when it's simple, you simply write what is your column on which you are selecting the values. The same thing of select when, you know how there is an alternate statement or alternate syntax for select when, where you can write the same program. Instead of writing type here, simply write select. In your where statement, you can write type equal to. Okay, so this is also one of the syntax. All right, rest all is same. So either you write type here, telling select on this type column if it is the value, or simply write select when type is equal to np. So this also is going to be your valid syntax or alternate syntax for select one group. So it's still creating the looking into log, it's working perfectly. So this is one way. Within the when itself, you give the column and its value, or you have an alternate where in your select you give this your column. All fine?
Yes.
Shanmuga?
Yes. Sure.
Good.
Actually,
Uh,
yesterday I tried in that I put campus equal to sum. That is one time in after set.
it
I
worked for
didn't give.
you.
That works
Okay,
from
fine.
from
No
yeah.
problem. If it works, very good. Here it did
Mm,
not work, so I just tried to put it into this conditional only. So all
okay.
fine, no worries.
Mm.
So if it's working, it's all fine. All right. So this is the type values. Okay, Swarupa, I hope you understood a bit because I know did not attend the class when we were doing select or selecting the statements conditionally with if then else. But I hope this is making some sense that we are selecting the values on this criteria and we are creating multiple statements and outputting to respective multiple data sets.
Yeah, yeah. I will check tomorrow again, so it will be
Sure,
fine.
sure, no problem.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move ahead with the next chapter, which is lesson 5, analyzing and reporting on data. In this, we have three topics: enhancing reports with titles, footnotes, and labels. We'll create frequency reports and we'll create summary statistics reports. So let's work with lesson 1. So with our SAS programming processing, the process which is we are following, like of course being an analyst we do are going to follow either it's in any technology the same process. One thing is accessing data, exploring your data, preparing your data, analyzing, exporting. So this is the general phases of your data which as analyst we are going to use it. So in while learning SAS programming, we did finish how one can access data into SAS environment, how one can explore your data, how is one is preparing. So that's what's your last chapter, lesson 4. We saw how you are preparing the tables. And once the data is prepared as per our requirement of your business requirements or business scenario, you are going to analyze and do the report generation part of it. So analyze and report on your data. So this is the area where we are going to focus today, and we are going to analyze or generate reports by using various procs. So therefore this sign indicates we are using various procs like proc print, proc mince, proc frequency, and we are going to see how you can enhance the reports with titles, footnotes, labels to make your report more interactive or more understandable for the end user. All right. So just hold on for a. So it's telling using titles and footnotes. So now you people are quite familiar that we are actually having proc print, which is used to generate a report or we create a report by writing procedures. So let's work with one of the proc prints. So see, I write suppose proc print data equal to, so we'll work on some existing data. So we have pg1 and we have some class dates data with us, and you run it. So in if when you simply write this proc print on a specific table, you know it generates the result in a result pane, and this is the output which comes, which is in the form of an HTML format. Okay, if you see, it's by default giving you obvious column. These are the default columns from your data which appears into your report. So you know, simple with proc print, your data appears into a result window, which is an HTML file. By default, it selects all columns and all rows. So we call proc print is also one of the listing type of reports which you generate into your output. So it's listing all the rows and all the columns in your output. Correct? So if you look into this report as an end user, it will be a bit meaningless that what this report is all about. So why don't we give some information on this report, that what this report is all about, with including titles and footnotes for your report. So this is simple, a table which you see as a report. But is it making any sense as an end user of this output, that what is this table all about? No, it's not giving you any description. So let's describe this table or this result by giving a title. So for that, you can always write a title statement before your procedure. So you write title, it's a global statement. And the text which you want to appear as a title on your report, you need to put it into quotes. And title is a statement, it should end with a semicolon. So I can now write the text which is into quotes, telling that the report of class with vertex. I simply give this, okay? And I run this program. So when I run this proc print with the title statement, see, I get the title, the report of class with vertex. So it's coming the same text which I have written within your proc. Okay. So now this title is called as a global statement. So this title being a global statement, you people have got introduced to one of the global statement called as libname. So why it's called as a global? Because once it is executed, the effect of that statement lasts throughout your session until and unless you change, cancel, or end your session. Same thing is with title. So ideally, if I write another proc for another report, suppose, but I use suppose same table and I write dot s and I simply use run. Now you know with procfric, if I do not select any table column to be analyzed for your report, it default selects all the columns for your report to be generated. See, so it's selecting for every column the frequency count, correct? But in case if you want to work with only specific column, so I may work with selecting only specific column in your frequency with table statement. So I will select suppose gender. Do we have gender in this, or we have sex column? All right. So now you know it will select or it will work with proc frequency only with frequency count for your select. So this is with let's check. All right. So this is how it works. Now it is, make a note, as I said you, title is a global statement. Its effect is throughout your session. So its title can be effective for your upcoming props. But in SAS Studio, the software is developed in such a way that the effect of this prop title is not coming with this frequency. Otherwise, this title would have been repeated for this frequency also. But here in SAS Studio, it's not coming, but your earlier or your other softwares like SAS 9.4 version and Enterprise Guide, this was the effect that once your title is assigned, okay, so this same title would come for all other procs. But if you do not want that title to be seen for other procs, it was a great practice which we do, that we write a null title statement. That means the effect of this title should be limited only for this proc. When I write a null title, why we call it as a null title? Because there is no text provided. So the effect for previous titles will be nullified. Okay. Hence, it is always a great practice to end this. So now when I process this, I see that I get my proc print with its title. That is the title which I have provided. And I see there is a default title coming for frequency, which is coming a frequency count only for your single column sets. Default statistics of frequencies are frequency, percentage, cumulative frequency, and cumulative percentage, right? So this is how titles appear. Now, if you want footnote as well, for this proc print, you can write a footnote within the proc step, telling it should apply a footnote only for this proc print, and you can say that so you can put it like this. Note, give the text into double quotes, and you can write the report date was generated, and this date, you can write this date, that you have a macro default. It's a macro variable or system macro variable where it will extract your, it's not a system macro, it's a simple function of SAS where it will extract your system date, correct? So now let's execute and check your output. So you get your report. So here it's not working with today. All fine if today is not taking its this. So I will write ampersand sysdate. Ampersand sysdate is your automatic macro variable which extracts your system date. Okay, so when I execute this, I see my output. So see, it's giving my system date, which is in the form of date 9 dot, but it's not 9, but it's date 7 dot. 9 dot, it would, if I would have written 9, then it would come as 2022. All right, so that's how the report comes. So it's simple sys date. I write sys date 9, then it will show me the result with the date extracted of my system in the date 9 dot format. See? All right, so this is what we get introduced, that you get title and you get footnote for your reports. So it's always a best practice that titles and footnotes are global statement. Their effect should not be carried forward for your rest of your session. So it's always best habit to end your program with null title and null footnote statements. All right, so this is all about titles and footnotes. So when you look into your presentation, so they are telling you the same thing. So you have this titles and footnotes. Those are independent statements. Those are not a part of any of your data step or a prop step. So when you check this title, see, we did not write it as a part of any data or a prop step. Same thing with footnotes also. Okay, so that's what it's telling. It's independent statements. So see, look at the syntax. It's telling title N. So when you have this type of parenthesis provided as a syntax, it indicates it's optional. What this N indicates, it's like number of titles. Okay, so what are those number of titles? I'll explain you. But this is how the text they are providing, and it's put in into quotes. Same goes for footnotes. N stands for number of lines of footnotes or lines of titles. And you have the footnote text. So see, they have given example, title 1, title 2. So this 1 and 2 indicates 1 means title for line number 1 for your title and line number 2 for your title. Same goes for footnote, footnote 1. So what is this 1 and 2? It's like when you had seen this report, you get your title. So it's taking default title number 1, though you have not provided any number. So like this, SAS provides you line of titles. So there are 10 lines provided for your reports to generate the titles. So therefore, in case if I write another title, suppose I write title and I give the number is suppose 5 and I give the text, I say that it is class report. Okay, and I execute this. Now look at your output. So the title which I have not provided in my coding as any number, so that means no number title, it's by default going to give you title for line number 1 and it's giving you title 5. So why you think there is a big gap in between title 1 and title 5? Any idea?
Numbering, will that occur in the sequence?
Yes. So here we are not giving any number title. So by default, it's taking title 1. That means line number 1 of your title. And this is your title 5. That means the space which is created between these two titles is blank because we did not provide any information for title 2, title 3, title 4. So those lines are blank. Got it now? So this is what you can see, titles along with subtitles. So here in SAS, you can have like this 10 lines of titles and 10 lines of footnotes also. So here again, by default, in our footnotes, we are getting default footnote number 1. Though you have not specified any number for your footnote, it's default, it's footnote 1. So in case if I write footnote 10 and I give it the fourth report, simply okay, some text. Now look at that. Same goes with footnote. Only difference is footnote appears at the bottom of your report. So see, there is a huge gap between footnote 1 and footnote 10. So all the rest footnote spaces for footnote 2 to footnote 9 is not mentioned. So it's not taking those footnote lines, but it's directly giving you footnote number 10, which is on the 10th line, which is provided by SAS. So this is how you can specify subtitles and footnotes with sub footnotes also, where you have lines of your titles and footnotes. So there is 10 lines provided for titles and footnotes, and you can accordingly give that number for this title and for this number. So as per the syntax, this n stands that it is for which number line of title and footnote you are giving. So see, same thing. So either you write this footnote as a part of your proc or you give it as an independent statement before your proc. But see to it, once your procedure is end, you give a null title and a null footnote statement so that the effect of your previous titles and footnotes is not carried forward for your further procedures. All fine? So that is what it's telling you. So see, it's title 1, title 2. So it's coming line number 1, line number 2, and it's telling footnote 1. So this is the footnote 1, line 1 for footnote. So let's open this activity for lesson 5A01 from your activities folder and perform the following task. So it's telling in this program, notice that there is a title statement followed by two procedures. Run the program. Where does the title appear in output? So let's work with this activity, which is A01. Activities, lesson 5, A01. So it's telling run the program. Where does the title appear in output? So let's work. See, for every proc, this title is coming. Got it now what I was trying to tell you? See, for this proc means this title is appearing. For this proc frequency, the title is appearing, which is term analysis. And of course, the means procedure or the proc-freq procedure is the default title for this particular procedures. Are you able to follow what we are looking on the screen and what I'm explaining?
Yes,
Yes.
Ashwini.
Yes.
Yes. Now, what has happened? Because this is a global statement, its effect is going to be for all your procedures throughout your session. Hence, in case if you do not want this title to be carried forward for this procedure, you can always end it here by giving a null title statement. All right. But as per their activities, let us work. So it's telling where does the title appear in the output. So if you check, this title appears for all the or both the procedures. Okay, so it's not only for Procmins, its effect is for frequency also. All right. Then it's telling add title to statement above proc means to print second line. So let's copy this line. Now just pay attention, do not work. I write title number 2 and I give my statement of text to be appeared in my. So it's telling summary statistics for max wind and minimum pressure. So let's execute. So it's telling add this line, add another title to statement above proc with this title. So before working it, let's execute both and check the output. So what has happened? Again, title 1, title 2 is coming for proc. But is this title 2 text going to be match the title for frequency? Is it actually summary statistics for max wind mile and minimum pressure? Look at your data and look
No.
at this subtitle.
No.
It's not correct. So this subtitle is not matching your result. So, but why it's coming? It's because titles is a global statement. Its effect is going to be on all your other procs whenever you use any procs to generate the report. But we want the same title to be carried forward for this proc freq. And before proc freq, I write title 2 and I give my next statement. So just understand what is happening. All right, I re-execute the whole program. Now look at my report. I get storm analysis title 1 coming for both the reports. For proc means I get its respective title 2, whereas for proc frequency I get the title 2 is being changed. Now what does this mean? That though it's a global statement, now same number title is appearing for proc freq, and the same number title you have just changed its text, so it got overwritten for your second proc. So in case if you want to change the text for the same number title, you can change it. So it gets overwritten. So same number title can be overwritten. So it's telling run the program which title appears above each report. So we get title 1 common for both the procs. Same number title, which is title 2, is coming as per the instructions which we have provided. Got it, everyone? So what has happened? Understand the statement. I said title is a global statement. It is in effect until and unless we change, we cancel or end the session. So this is in effect. This is in effect until we have changed. So for this report, we had changed because we have used same number of titles. And in case at the end, if I write a null title statement, now in case if I write this, okay, and I write suppose corporate equal to pay attention. I have title 1, title 2. Post proc means I have a null title statement and I have proc. Now we know that when we execute all this along with your other procedures, we saw that proc frequency was coming with these titles, correct? Now understand, I'm just executing this and I'm checking this output with proc means and proc. Do my proc print come with titles, both the titles?
No.
No. Why? It's because when I ran these statements, this whole program was also encountering a null title statement and another procedure. So what has happened? The effect of earlier all titles was nullified because of my null title statement. Hence, proc print was not coming with any of the titles. Got it?
Yes.
So
If
in
we
case
don't
if you want
want
to, in
uh,
case if you do not want your previous procs titles to be carried forward for this proc, you write a null title statement after this procedure. And it's always a best practice that whenever you give titles or footnotes for a procedure, end of that procedure, give nullified titles, null title and null footnote statement so that the effect for this proc titles and footnotes are nullified for upcoming procedures. Now pay attention. I execute the whole thing with my proc fric also. Now look at the report. My proc means is coming with its respective titles. Now this is a default title for this procedure. Print is not coming with any titles, but frequency is coming with this title. Which title? Frequency report for basing. So why it's not coming the title number 1, which is storm analysis? Any idea? Why my proc fric is not coming with that title 1, which is storm analysis? It's just coming this text.
So
Why it's not coming?
when
Yeah.
it is carrying step by step, first after once it came to the title 2, it reread the title 2 and rewrote that. No?
Okay. A very good attempt. So what I would explain is, though I had given title 1, title 2 for procments, but its effect I nullified with its null title statement. Hence, procprint did not come with any titles. Now here it is the fresh beginning of my next proc, and it is coming only the instruction telling title 2. That means until and unless I do not specify any title number, so it's directly giving me title 2 as one of my titles. Did I mention anything of title 1, title 3, title 4? No. I just mentioned title number 2 should be this text for my frequency. Hence, my frequency is coming only title 2. So because I did not specify anything of title 1, so it's not appearing title 1. It's directly giving the line number 2 of my title number 2 for profit. Got it now?
Yes.
yes.
Understood?
Yes.
Okay, and see, because this proc is having title 2, I have a habit to nullify this effect at the end by giving null title statement. Swarupa, I hope you are able to follow what we are doing it.
Yes.
Okay. So we had seen this. So the first title, look at here, we did had title 1. Unnumbered title means it's always title number 1. So it's telling here's the same title number 2, which was this text. For Procfreak, you have title number 2. Same number, but new text. So it's telling the first title appears above both the report, which is your title number 1. The second title is replaced for your Procfreak. Okay, so it's activity 2. Now it's telling, notice that there are no title statements in the code. Run the program. Does the report have the same titles assigned in the previous activity? Because we have given the nullified title statement, I don't think it will work here, but let's see. Now I have no titles, but I'm executing my procments here. So it's not coming. Why? Because I had an habit for my all reports at the end, I was giving the nullified effects of title. But in case if I run this program without null title effect and I come up with this activity, let's work with this activity. It's the same session, okay? Only the new window of program. That's it. But it's the same session. Okay, so here it's not coming, but in your SAS Studio and your 9.4 version of your program or your softwares, the effect was previous procs was coming here. Okay, hence it's just trying to tell you here that what does it appear? So it was appearing with this titles. So see, as I said, in SAS Studio, it's default not coming. But if I would have worked with SAS Enterprise Guide, my previous Prox title would have appeared. So with Studio, it's not coming. So some procedures automatically add these titles. So it depends. SAS Studio automatically clears existing titles before a new program is submitted. SAS Enterprise Guide does not do that. All right. Are you getting at what it's trying to tell us?
Yes.
So in our case, because we are working with SAS Studio, it's not coming for this new program. The result with the previous Prox title is not effective. Why? Because in SAS Studio, it's developed in such a way that it is not carried forward the titles of previous Prox, but it is in effect in Enterprise Guide. All right. So that's what it's telling you. So this was the result with Enterprise Guide. So how to clear your titles and footnotes? You write titles and footnotes with null numbers or nullified statements or without any expressions or statements of text. It clears titles and footnotes. Now in case, now currently see this report is coming with the default title of that procedure. If you do not want this title of your procedure also in your program, as they have specified here, you write ODS no proc title. What does this ODS means? It is called, please note it down, its full form is Output Delivery System. So it's ODS, okay? It's termed as Output Delivery System. And I write an option called as no proc title. That means for this procedure, I do not want its default title. So I'm writing this statement about procness. Again, ODS statement is a global statement. So this is what she is simply give you the report without any procedure title. Got it? So it's a good practice to clear all titles and footnotes at beginning and end of every program. Any doubts, any questions? So do you want to work on this activity A01 and A02? Have an hands-on. Go ahead and work on it. For lesson 5, activity A01 and A02. And try this A02 with this ODS no proc title as well. Go ahead and work, please.
This meeting is being recorded.
So see, with this proc no proc titles, this proc means which was executing, it did not give the procedure default titles. But in case if you want this procedure titles to be active for other procs, see to it, you open up the dialog with SAS that you write ODS proc titles. So see the same thing and the same procedure I'm doing. I'm just opening up the ODS statement for titles to be seen. I get the default titles. Fine. This is how it is. Proc or ODS proc titles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vipini,
Wait, yes, tell me, Sharmada.
I want to share my screen once.
Sure,
Can you
sure. I'll just stop my sharing and you can share your screen. Yes.
In the second title 2, I put here, right? But it is not coming in the.
Now, why your proc is not highlighted with blue? Tell me what you are missing.
Oh, okay. I missed the semicolon, right?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay. Okay, now it's coming.
Coming? Okay.
Well, I want the first title for the second one too. What should I do for that?
So what you can do is, see, after your proc means you have given two null title statements. One is with title comma, sorry, title semicolon and title 2 semicolon. I'll tell you
Yes.
one thing, when you write this title semicolon, without any number, it is not like it's only title 1 effect is nullified. It's like all the titles, irrespective of its number, it gets nullified. So no need of writing title 2 as a null statement.
Okay.
So that means the effect of all the titles is getting nullified. But in case if you do not want that title 1 to be nullified for your this title, remove that title semicolon or just comment that statement.
Okay.
Yes, and now resubmit with your first statement because it's nullified effect. Yeah, resubmit it.
Both, right?
Yeah, you want your title 1 to be in effect, correct?
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yes, it's coming out.
Right?
Okay. Okay, Shwini. Can I stop sharing?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Swarupa, I hope you are able to work and you are not facing any issues or doubts.
No.
Okay, so this is not having any connection with our previous class, which you might
Yeah.
have missed. Okay,
Yeah.
it's quite simple. All right, so let's move ahead with our next slide. So this activity we had done. So we had seen this also. So default, the effects of your previous Prox titles is default nullified in SAS Studio, but it's not the case with Enterprise Guide. Okay, so with there you can always, but you always have a habit to end up your previous Prox titles to be nullified with your null title statement. All right. So see, that's what it's telling. So did they give any number? So did they give any number for title and footnote? No. So what does it mean? It clears titles and footnotes irrespective of numbers. So it's like the effect of your previous titles or footnotes with whatever number, it should get nullified. And you know what does this? It turns off your procedure titles. All right. So it's always a good practice to clear all titles and footnotes at the beginning or end of your program. So why it's written at the beginning? Because in case if for any previous procs, if there were any titles or footnotes, so those effects should not be carried forward for this proc. So it's always either you write this way, or if you have given any titles, and we are procs with those null titles or footnote statements. Okay, now look at here. Now you know that we had got introduced to macro in our previous lessons, correct? Where it was giving a shortcut for us to make use of that macro. Do you remember we had used this macro in our previous programs?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
so we had used when we were subsetting your data with where statement, correct? Same thing, look into this program, you are creating a report where you are actually generating a proc list report or a listing report for class birthdays where you are subsetting the data on age. So what is this program actually? I'll just explain it with your demo. So, moving into your studio. So ideally, what it is doing, we are writing this proc print, correct? So normally when I'm generating a proc print, if I wanted to generate a report for the people or the students with the age of 15, so I write this type of program in my where statement, age value is equal to 15, correct? So I get all the students whose age is 15, correct? So what does this indicates? That you are subsetting your report from your data, that wherever the age value 15 is, it's selecting, and that is what its original observation in your data, you have it, correct? So in case you know, if you do not want that obvious column, you can always suppress it by writing no obvious in this proc print. I write no obvious, right? So this no obvious will suppress the default observation column. So you get the report only with data for students with the age of 15. Now next time, if the same proc has to be or same report has to be generated only with a different age group now. So what we do, we go ahead and again change the value manually. So instead of doing this, and for that again, if you want that it is a title where you give the title manually telling that the class report is for age 13. So what are you doing? You are doing the changes manually at two places where 13 is changing. Hence, when you submit this, your title will appear with that text and your data is subsetted with the age of 13. Correct? So to overcome this, in title also, you can, instead of typing it manually, you can create a macro variable called as age with the value, and you give in your title age is equal to ampersand age, give the footnote, and in your where statement of proc print, you subset your data with macro. The same thing I'm creating with macro. So it's just giving you an introduction that you can write a macro variable in your titles. So next time, if I want to generate a report to see whether I have a data for the age group of only 16, so what changes I'll do in this particular program? I want the report for the age 16.
You will only change in the macro variable number.
Correct. You'll do the changes only with %. Correct. So rest in titles, in footnotes, so there is no need of doing any changes anywhere. So this is where it's making your tasks more simple, and it's also called as automation or time consuming. That's it. Correct. So this is, now pay attention. Now I'm using this title where I'm giving this text as age is equal to ampersand age. So what if instead of giving double quotes, I write single quotes? Okay, and I re-execute. So anything we give in quotes, it comes as a text into title. But this is not resolving. So let's check your log. Any message? No. So what has happened? Why in your result this title ampersand age is not resolving? It's because
I think
if you remember in your where statement earlier also, where we had seen that in case if you're writing any data values in where which was a character variable, we were writing double quotes. Okay, leave that. It may be confusing for you. But whenever we use a title to be processed where it has quotation marks, with single quotation, your title or your macro will never get resolved. So macros to get resolved, you always put into double quotes. Simple understanding. Whenever you use a macro to get resolved, single quotation will never resolve your macro variable values. So it's mandatory to use double quotes to resolve your macros. All right. So hence now when I change this title to with double quotes, the text it's getting resolved with my macro variable value. Got it now?
yeah.
So see to it whenever you have macro variable used where that it has to be resolved, always use double quotes. All right. So this is, it's telling using macro variable in titles and footnotes. All right. Now, okay, if you want to practice this, you can try this also. I'll give you this code in the chat box. One sec. Just have an hands-on so that you are confident to work with your upcoming topic. So I'll just put it here. Write out. Let's come with your next topic about labels. So what is this label actually? Okay, so currently in our program, if you have seen our report, this is the original column names. Okay, so even if I check my data, I go into my libraries and I look into, do we have PG1 class open? All right. Fine. So let's look into this. Now this is your data which I've opened, and this is its original column names. Correct? So when I check birth date, its contents, I see there is another attribute called label. Right? So same thing programmatically, if I'm working on my code, normally, if you want to see the descriptive portion of your data, you write proc contents data equal to eg1 dot class birth dates, and you write your procedure to the end with your run statement. So it's the end of your step. So when I run only proc contents, you get the contents or descriptor portion of your table where you have general information of your data set. How many rows, how many columns, name of your data, what is its type, member type, engine host information, and at the bottom you see alphabetic list of variables and attributes. Attributes means its characteristics. So alphabetic list, that means this is the original way it represents in your data. But in case alphabetically, it's telling it is originally in your table, age appears at the third place or third column. First column is name, but here it's showing you alphabetically in your proc contents. Correct? This part you are aware. These are the current attributes, which is telling the name of your variable, type of your variable, and length of your variable. So this is the original name. But when I generate a report, in my report, I see, just a second. In my report, when I execute this, I see my columns as they are in my table. But in my report, I don't want this birth date to be seen like this. I want this birth date to be appeared as birth space date. Okay. So we know as per SAS naming conventions, your column names cannot have spaces. So in that case, what I can do is I include in my proc print a statement called as label. I give my original column name, which is birth date, label. What is my original column name? Birth date. This I want to be appear with a label. It's a label on it. Okay, it's a sticker. I'm not changing my original column name. So I want this to be appeared as birth space date. Now, as per naming conventions, while creating a table, SAS never allows us to give any special signs or space within your column names, right? So this is what now this label. So in case now I apply this to be generated on my current proc print, it should come in my report, the birth date column as birth date space, but it's not appearing here. It's because with proc print, even if you write a label, to make this label in effect, in my proc print statement, I need to write label option. So that SAS understand that in proc print, this label has to be applied with the label which we have provided. So now when I execute this proc print, I find my report is coming with my label, which is birth space date column. Getting it? So it's just to enhance the presentation of your report for the column names. So this is how you apply label. Okay. So in case if you want a special sign here that it should come as label with hyphen in between. Okay. And I resubmit my proc print. So this is my column appearing with my proc print with label. See? So it's only for result. It's not changing my original column in your table because it's only in proc step. So see, even if I go ahead and check my proc contents will not show me the attributes of my column birth date is been applied permanent label on it. Are you getting it? It's just for the report's sake, for the presentation of your report, you write like this. If in case if I use the same procedure or same table for my next, suppose I simply write procfric on the same table, which is pg1 dot class birth dates, and I use this frequency table to be selected on the column tables. This is coming because it's here. Tables I use birth date. Now look at here. It's the same thing for the same table, but I'm using a new procedure procfric. So it's these are the birth dates. So this birth date is not coming with any label, correct, for procfric. But in case for procfric, I want this label to be applied. I write the same label statement here also. All right, and I'm reappearing with this again. So look at the column. So it's telling this is my analysis column, which is appearing with the label. This is the column which is appearing with the label. So look at your program. Did we write any label option with procfric as we wrote here with procprint? So procfric is default appearing this or applying this label. Are you getting it? Right? Are you all there with me?
So it only works with the proc frig, right?
No,
Otherwise,
it's like only with procprint you need to give this option label, because procprint by default never takes this label. It's been developed in such a way by the scientists, whoever the developers are. Hence, you have to give this label here. But with other procs, irrespective of procprint, all will take this default label which you have provided to be seen into your output. But if you want this label to be in effect with procprint, you need to make use of this label option in your procprint only, not with procfric. So we did not write label option with procfric. Correct? It's because it
Output,
is default going to be working with this label. Yes.
in the output, birth date also come. Can you show the output?
Yes, it's because this is the column with the label. Hence, it's showing you that this analysis variable column is coming like this with your label, and this is your birth date, which is your original with this statistics. But this is the column with the label.
Okay,
Why can't it take in the
birth date too.
below?
No, with procfric, it's been developed in this way. It comes like this. So same goes if I write the same thing with procmins also, for example. Because it's not a list report, right? Procprint, as we saw with procprint, it's a list report. It lists your column, but this is not a listing of your columns. It's a frequency report which you're creating on the column on this particular analysis variable. So your original analysis variable column will come into your report, but the label appears, hence the report comes for your label column. That's a title type, that it's the table heading for this label, which is birth date. This is the report. Like this it comes. Now same thing if I write it with procmeans. And with procmeans we select the columns with var. Alright. So only with procmeans I check the label. So again with procmeans there is no need of writing label option. So see, this is telling analysis variable or original column, and this is the label on it. Because means and frequency are not your listing reports like procprint. What is the word print means? It's list all columns and all variables. So here it's not listing, it's doing analysis. Are you getting it? That's why the column original names also appear in your output along with your label. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. Now, if I check the contents for the same table, so the contents never show any changes on your original column, that it is giving another attribute, a label column, and it's changing its label, correct? But in case if I want these labels to be effective in my data set itself, how I can do it? How I gave the permanent attributes for that column. So with Prox, it's all temporary. It's only for the report. So in case if you want to see that, you write the same label statement in your data step, which becomes your permanent attribute. So I will not overwrite my original data set. So I simply create a new data in my work library and I create it from my input data set from pg1 dot class birth date. So I write label statement in data step and I use this. And contents I write here. Now pay attention. When we submit this data step, it's default going to create a carbon copy from my input data to your output data set. So originally the table column is the same. So when you open the table, the column will not be showing you the label. But when you check the attributes, now when I check this, I find it's showing me a new attribute label is applied, which is birth underscore date. So the same thing, if I see programmatically with proc contents as well, it will show me the fourth attribute column in my variables and labels of my table, which is the last part of fourth column, which is label, and it's telling original column name is still there, but it has a label which is telling birth underscore or birth hyphen date. So now if I simply write data equal to class birth date along with this option. So no need of again writing label statement because now this label will be in effect. Why? Because my data has this column a label. Hence it's appearing as birth hyphen date. So this is how it comes. But originally your column is still birth date, but whenever you generate a report, it will come with this label. So same goes with my proc means also. So if I write the same procedure for my this table which I have created in my work library, I'm not going to use this label statement. And I execute this. So why it's coming like this? Did we write any label statement in proc means? No. Why? Because
We have
your
a
data which has been created, it's having a permanent attribute with the label statement. Hence, with default proc means the result appears with label. Got it now? So whenever you write for label statement in any of your data step, it applies permanent label or permanent attribute of label on that column. And if we write with any props, it's just temporary for that report. All right.
Yes.
So this is just to enhance the presentation of your reports. Now see, it's SAS Help.cards, labels, MSRP, they are telling manufacturer suggest retail price. So it's proc means. So it's telling this is your original column and this is the label on it. Okay. So with proc print, you have to write label there. Only this label will be showing you into your output. So in case if you want to generate your report into groups, you need to first sort your data by that particular column. And while generating a report, you simply write by origin. So your data will generate into groups. So your data must be sorted first before you use the by statement in your report. So either you write by statement in proc print, proc fake to generate the report in groups, you need to see to it that this data is previously sorted with that particular column. Do not disturb original column when you are sorting. You create a new column which is sorted, and that sorted table you use it to profit. That's it. So try this demo. P105D01. So it's demo 01 for lesson 5. Now, in case
This meeting is being recorded.
for our table now here, we have label for birth date. In case if I want another column, a label to be applied, no need of using a new table, a label statement. Simply in the same label statement, you specify your column, suppose it is sex, which should be now coming up with a label, and I give the label as gender. See, in a single label. So your label statement is ending here. So you can write n number of columns in your from your table to apply this label and end your label statement. So now when I
Just
execute
differentiate
this,
with, okay.
now when I execute this, just a second, when we execute this property, now you will see this label for your sex is changed to gender and your birth date is coming with hyphen. Got it?
Okay.
Yeah. So what was your
Just
question?
space is enough, right?
Yeah.
Just space is enough, right? Birth date and then sex. We have to.
Yes. It can go in the same line here, but again that line keeps on moving here. So for viewing to your eyes, it's not comfortable. So I put it on the next line. So the statement is ending with this semicolon.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Others, any questions, any doubts?
I have run the code. So far, no errors.
Okay. So any, did you work on this also with in a single statement? You can give labels for two columns.
Yeah. Actually, I did for every line label. But once that I just changed. That's it.
So in a single label, you can write multiple columns.
Okay.
Swarupa, Shanmuga.
I'm typing it. I'm
Okay,
typing
no
it.
problem. Okay. How about Swarupa?
Yeah, I'm also doing.
Okay.
Done, Ashwini.
Good. How about Shanmuga, Swarupa?
Yeah, almost done.
Me only tell done.
Okay, good. I hope you understood this concept of label, title, footnotes, and we had seen that one can also apply a permanent label if we write the label statement in data step. Correct? So you can try this out. Try this. See, I am creating a temporary data set from my permanent and I'm applying a label. So check this data, then check its contents, check it print and properties. So check this highlighted parts. Do this also.
I'm done.
Yeah, Sorupa, you was trying to say something.
I just said I was done with the earlier one.
Okay, you've done with this also. Data set
No,
with permanent label.
no, I will do that. I will
Oh
just.
yeah. Go ahead. No problem. Done?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So the same thing which you had done now with permanent label, with applying permanent attribute which is labeled to column, same thing they have done in this data step for SAS cars help as an input table to create a new table which is cars updates applying this label. So when you see the contents, you see a fourth column of attribute in your alphabetic list variables and attributes in your contents part in proc contents, and these two columns are getting the permanent labels. And if labels are assigned in data step, they become permanent attributes in your table. Same thing. So just open this activity A03. Modify a label statement in data step to label the invoice column as invoice space price. Run the program. Why do the label appears in proc means report but not in proc print? Fix the program, run it again. Simple one which we have already done it.
Yes.
Done? Great. How about others?
So here title
Shanviva?
we can give as the macro variable ampersand OC, right?
Yes. Where? No, I did not get your question.
The second point of that activity. Shall I share the screen? Ashwini?
Yes, Nalima. Sorry, there was some voice disturbance. Yes, tell me. What was the question?
The second point, they said update the title to statement to use the macro variable. So their title 2, we can give as ampersand OC, right?
No, you can.
Okay.
Yes. Right. All right. So this was all about your labels and titles. So the next topic is going to be creating frequency report, but this will see in our next class. So for today, we had got introduced how one can enhance a report with titles, footnotes, and labels. All right. Yes.
Yes.
Am I audible? Okay. So we'll stop for the day. we'll stop for the day and we'll meet on our next class. You can revise the topics, and in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. So have a good night. Take care. Bye.
Okay, Shri. Thank you.